Oh, the Tesla Model 3. It's my dream car! For those of you who don't know, Elon Musk just unveiled the third model of Tesla, technically the fourth, if you count the first roadster kind of car they had, but that one's not really in production anymore. The Tesla Model 3 is kind of a breakthrough for Tesla because it is the first fully electric with potentially autonomous feature car that the priority when designing it was making it affordable. If you haven't heard the number yet, the cheap price of $35,000, which to a lot of people, including me, that's still actually quite a lot for a car. If you're kind of a budget person, you know, you're comfortable spending $4 to $5 grand on a car, not $35,000. But you have to admit that's a lot better than the previously low price of $70,000. That's how much the Model S was, which is the most popular Tesla car. Usually, if you go on a highway for 45 minutes to an hour, you're gonna see 1 to 2 of these for sure. If you live in a city, I'm sure you see these things all the time. I absolutely think that Tesla is changing the way we will look at cars for decades to come, because they are thinking long term, and I think that's what the Model 3 does that really attracts me. Like, it is thinking so forward. Like, for instance, it does not have a dashboard. It has one single 15-inch monitor right in the center console. That tells you your speed, that tells you where you're going. You've got your navigation systems on there. You can play your music on there. No, it does not support CarPlay. I'm okay with that though. This is fine. And Elon says eventually you'll be able to talk to your friends, watch movies on that thing, because when they designed the Model 3, they were anticipating that this will be shipped out and in production when fully autonomous cars is legal. All Teslas now coming out of the factory have the hardware to drive themselves all completely, as in you could drive coast to coast with a Tesla without touching the wheels or the pedals, and we're simply waiting for the legislation to be passed for that to be legal. Which means that a lot of people buying the Tesla Model 3 right now, in just a couple years, they'll be able to get in their car, set its destination, and then go to sleep or watch a movie and just sit back and not touch the wheel, not touch the pedals. And oh, days like this, I wish I had that. This morning I drove my sister to the airport and her flight left at 10. And the airport's a little bit away, so we left the house at 7 and I was up all night working. This was definitely one of those days I was thinking about the Model 3 constantly, because I was like, you know, if we had self-driving cars, I could have gotten in the car and gone back to sleep. It would have driven to the airport, and who knows how this technology may change in the future. Maybe that car single-handedly could drive my sister to the airport and then come back with nobody in it at all. I'm sure Elon Musk would definitely say that is possible, and if the laws get generous enough, they're definitely not going to right away, but as time goes on, if we get to a point where cars are allowed to drive on the road with no one else in them, I bet you could order a Tesla online and it would drive to your house, and you could just wake up one morning, they put a big bow on the top of it, and there's your new Tesla. Didn't even have to go to a dealership. Oh, this sounds amazing. Now, of course, there are a lot of cons to the Model 3 that a lot of people are criticizing about, and I gotta admit, some of them are a little justifiable. The biggest weakness electric cars have against gasoline-powered cars that we've been using for a long time is probably range, given the cheapest Model 3 at $35,000 only has a range of 220 miles. On a car like mine, I have around 430 miles of range, so that would literally cut my range in half. I don't take long distance drives a lot, so that wouldn't be a huge problem. But again, if you do drive on the road a lot, I could see this being an issue. However, keep in mind this fact too. Electric cars charge when they're at your house and they're parked in your garage. You just leave them plugged in while you're sleeping, just as you would your phone or your AirPods or your iPad, whatever. And when you wake up in the morning, your Tesla will always be at 100%. This is not the same story with gas cars, because you always have to go to a gas station to fill it up. Unless you're kind of cool and keep your own gasoline at your house. I know a couple people in the rural areas that do that. So you got me there, but for the most part, that's not a common scenario. All I'm saying is, when it comes to gas cars, when you're leaving your house in the morning, 50% of the time, the range is 200 miles or lower, because you could have half a tank, you could have a quarter tank or less. Whereas with the Tesla, whenever you leave the house, no matter what, you're going to have 200 miles of range. There are, of course, superchargers all across the United States, and they're growing, and Elon says they're going to triple the amount of superchargers just within the next 5 years. So don't worry about there being a lack of charge stations. That's definitely coming, as this company is growing incredibly fast. And the second, more pricey Model 3, ranked at $44,000, has a range of 310 miles, which is a bit more reasonable. And keep in mind, as soon as you leave the garage, you have that range of 310 miles. Now, neither of these cars are as fast as the Model S, but to me, it still feels like you're getting 80% of the Tesla experience, but for half the cost. In fact, most Tesla Model S's are a lot more than $70,000. That's like the cheapest cheapest possible one. So the fact now that we can look at Model 3 lineups and say 35 grand or 44 grand, and then when you account people who do special licensing, you know, pay for it month to month, basically the Tesla Model 3 might become just as popular, if not more popular, than the Prius in the next 5 years. So if you think you're seeing a lot of Teslas on the road right now, believe me, you're gonna see a lot more in the upcoming years. I wish I had a salary that allowed me to buy one, because of course I want one. I don't care that the range isn't as high. I love the idea that they're making futuristic cars that are designed for an autonomous future, and this, of course, is the safest car in America, with all of its auto braking features and ways it can actually predict car accidents. The Model 3 is changing all of this, and the fact that they want to keep the price low is so incredibly obvious that they care about getting these electric, amazing cars to as many people as possible. And of course, it's not stopping with the Model 3. Elon says that this September they're going to be unveiling a Tesla Semi. Yes, you heard me right, a semi-truck that will be electrically powered with those autonomous features. And what Elon has said about it is that it has more torque power than any gas-powered semi-truck out there, which I'm really excited to see, because I think a lot of people have the predetermined opinion that electric cars are slow, electric cars aren't as strong, when in reality, when designed correctly with just some lithium batteries, electric cars can be a lot faster than gas cars and certainly have a lot more torque power. So I'm excited to see more of the statistics when it comes to the semi-truck in terms of range, in terms of top speed, and how much weight it can carry compared to other gas semis. There's so much to look forward to. Tesla is probably my second favorite company, and yet I don't own a single one of their products. Yeah, that's weird. And no one say Apple should buy Tesla. I want Apple to create their own electric cars so that Tesla and Apple could compete with each other, okay? That would be amazing. We need competition. We don't need them buying each other out. Tesla's doing fine as it is. They do not need to be bought out. Let me know all your thoughts on the Model 3 in the comments below. I definitely want one. You guys know I have a P.O. box, right? Elon, if you're watching this, just send the Model 3 to my P.O. box. I'm sure the post office will be fine with that. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.